It's Friday, January 12th, and this is my first installment for Countdown to Retirement in January 2018. So, what have I gotten in books in the last just about couple of weeks? Not too much. This is all from Strand, outside. So, let's go through it. Northanger Abbey, Jane Austen. Has an introduction by Caroline Levander. Levander. I have this book, but I bought it because I don't have the introduction by Levander. So now I do. I like to read the introductions from different authors and see what they say about the book. Then I picked up Lame Dare Secret Revisions. It was like brand new outside for $1. The Life of a Sioux Medicine Man by John Fire Lame Dare and Richard Erdos. I couldn't say no. I have it, but it was $1 and it was like excellent condition. Then, this I don't have. It was $1. The Curse of Treasure Island. It's like a follow-up to Treasure Island. It's written by Francis Bryan. Yeah, it looked interesting. It's worth $1. It's in great shape. This here was $2. As You Wish. The Inconceivable Tales from the Making of The Princess Bride by Carrie. I guess his last name is Elwes. I'm not sure how you say it exactly. Looks like Elwes. And it's got this cool inside the dust jacket here, like a poster that comes with it. The back side of the dust jacket. And that was $2. It was brand new. I was looking at it over and over trying to find something wrong with it. Like, why is it outside for $2? But it was, and it's mint condition. This was $1. Spirit Capture. Again, great shape. I try to only get stuff that's in great shape. And this is photographs from the National Museum of the American Indian. And it is edited by Tim Johnson. And basically it's a collection of photographs, again. Cool one right there. From the National Museum of the American Indian. And then the last thing I picked up is World War II Day by Day. An Illustrated Almanac, 1939 to 1945, by Donald Somerville. And it's got a lot of cool pictures, and it's basically a day by day, month by month account of World War II. It's got mixed reviews. I think it's a good book. It just has some typos in it, but it was $2, and it's for my purposes, it's fine. Maybe after I retire, I will read along, follow World War II. Read it day by day as entries are there. Kind of live through the war through reading it. But you know what I mean. I'm doing that with Lewis and Clark right now, their journal. I follow along, and on that any particular day, I'll try to read that entry. So that's it. Tomorrow we might go to a bookstore upstate New York. We're not sure. It depends on the weather. And if we don't go tomorrow, hopefully we'll go next week. And then the week after, we have a big book sale at Niantic Book Barn. So that's exciting. Hopefully the weather holds out for that. So that's it. I've been watching some good movies lately. I'll just usually go over those at the end of the month, but I'll just say I watched a movie called Passengers. It's a science fiction movie. Now, I've seen mixed reviews for it. I watched it yesterday. I was looking up information about it on Google today and reading reviews on Amazon and watching YouTube reviews, movie reviews, and a lot of people get on this movie's case. I thought it was an excellent movie. Sure, in hindsight, you could have done some different things with it. I agree. But the movie, just as a movie itself, don't go into it like thinking how you could have made it better and whatnot. Just watch it for what it is. It's an excellent movie. It's really good. Sure, some details I would have changed. And some things I didn't even think of that I saw mentioned in other videos, but that doesn't mean that you should give it a low grade because of that. It's still a great movie as it is. Could have been better, but it's great anyway. And that's my opinion. I thought it was just a fantastic movie. I was a sucker for that movie, loved it. And that's it for this video. Take care. This video is coming to you Sunday afternoon, January 14th. And yesterday we went to a book sale at a library. Did pretty good. I bought 23 books and I paid $10 for 23 books. It's pretty good. In fact, let's break it down a little bit differently. 3 books that I purchased were regular price. There were 2 hardcovers for $2 and 1 softcover for $1. So 3 of them were $5 because they weren't part of the sale. 2 were history books, and 1 was a book about movies. The other 20 books cost me $5. So those basically averaged out to $0.25 a piece. That's pretty good. So 20 books for $0.25 a piece and 3 books for $5. Altogether 23 books, $10. Let's go over them. And first we'll start with the paperbacks. They were 10 cents each for the paperbacks. So this is part of a series. This is number 14, the American Indian series. This came out probably around circa early 1980s. I have a few others from this series. This one's called Pawnee Medicine by Bill Hotchkiss and Judith Shears. Then, I always see this book and I never do get it, but it was only a dime. Zeke and Ned, Larry McMurtry, and Diana Osana. It has good reviews. An Isaac Asimov novel, Pebble in the Sky. And this I purchased. I didn't really need to get it. It's Jane Austen, Emma, in paperback. I bought it because inside there's a stamp from a store that I used to go to. Had their store stamp inside the book. I thought it was kind of cool because the store closed down, and again, it was only a dime. And then I got Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen also. This has an introduction by Laura Engel, and this one is an afterword by Graham Hough, Hough. Then surprisingly, I don't have this book, but now I do. The Killer Angels by Michael Shara, book about Gettysburg. And then his son, Jeff, wrote a book about the Revolutionary War, The Glorious Cause. I think there's another one that came after this about the Revolution, but I didn't see that one. I'll find it eventually. And then C.J. Cherryh, Foreigner, a novel of first contact. I just finished a C.J. Cherryh book, and I'll talk about that at the end of the month. Also because I can't remember the name of it, which has nothing to do with how good it was. It was actually pretty good. I'm just so bad with remembering things. I wasn't expecting to call it up this second, that book title. But Foreigner, First Contact, great condition, a dime. And then, this is of course a movie, but first there was a book. The Dirty Dozen by E.M. Nathanson. Okay, now let's go to the soft covers. So I picked up Northanger Abbey. Now I have a few copies of this book, but this has an introduction by Robert Kiley, which I don't have. So, and it was just $0.25. And this is the one that was $1, a movie book. It's called 101 Greatest Movies of Mystery and Suspense by Otto Penzler. And it's funny because his name is Penzler, which is the correct spelling, but on the side here they spelled it Penzeler. They added in that extra E. And then this book I have in a small paperback, but it was $0.25. Excellent condition. After You by Jojo Moyes. And this book I already have, but again it was only $0.25, and I needed to fill up the box, keep things from rattling around. Otherwise it wouldn't. Well, I'll get to that in a second. The Englishman's Boy. So this is by Guy Vanderhaeghe, I guess is how you say his last name. And like I was saying, is that I purchased maybe 2 or 3 books that I didn't have to have, but they were worth having because they were cheap. But I wanted to like get the box filled with the books so that they wouldn't rattle around on the way home. So that explains why I bought 2 of The Englishman's Boy. Otherwise, I really didn't need it. But it was only $0.25. What the hell? The annotated Persuasion. Well, it's Persuasion annotated by Jane Austen. It's $0.25. and it's edited and annotated by David Shepard. This book is by Oakley Hall. It's part of a series of novels he wrote about Ambrose Bierce, a famous writer from the late early 1900s. And this is Ambrose Bierce and the Tray of Pearls. Trey means three. I guess it means three pearls. And this is was made into a movie, which I watched maybe 2 weeks ago about. I thought it was pretty good, so I thought I'd get the book a quarter. This is the Jane Austen Book Club by Karen Joy Fowler. It was in great shape. It wasn't even on the shelf. It was on a table. They had books on tables, and I just happened to notice it. And this is the same book that I had in paperback, The Sense and Sensibility, with introduction and notes by Laura Engel. It's a bigger copy. Again, I didn't need both of them, but I was just trying to stuff the box enough so that it would be solid and nothing would rattle around inside the box, mess up the books on the way home. So ended up with two of them. I tried to find something I didn't have that I wanted, but it was getting late, and I just said, oh, what the hell, just take it. This was 50 cents. CJ Cherry Rim Runners. Again, I like her books. I have this in a paperback, and I figured it was in excellent shape. What the hell, 50 cents. This is Gold, Isaac Asimov. It's got some articles he wrote and some stories. Some of it looked interesting, so it was only 50 cents. It was in brand new condition. This here, The King Must Die and the Bull from the Sea by Mary Renault. I have these in paperback, but now I have a hardcover. It's excellent shape. 50 cents. This book by Jeff Ginn, Glorious, a novel of the American West. Now I have a book by him called, it's up there, I think it's called Buffalo Trail. And I have that in hardcover also. That's about Comanches, Quannapocker. This is not really sure what it's about exactly, but it's not really to do with Native Americans like the other book. It takes place in the Old West, though. And then this book here cost me $2. This was not on sale. The Great War, Perspectives on the First World War, edited by Robert Cowley. And this is excellent shape. Looked interesting, has different articles about World War I. And then this was, I was surprised to find, a good find, Leonard Nimoy, I Am Spock. Brand new, $2. So that was what I picked up yesterday. My wife picked up a few books. Usually she gets one or two, if that. A lot of times she comes home with nothing. But yesterday, I guess the sale prices were just too good, so I think she got 7 books. My son also came home with a couple of items, a DVD and a book. And speaking of DVDs, these I ordered on Amazon recently. Continental Divide with John Belushi and Blair Brown. I used to like this movie when I was younger. Thought I'd see it again. The Butterfly Effect I watched actually online, and it was really good. I wanted to get the DVD. It's just got an alternate ending and some bonus features, and I thought it was good enough that it deserved for me to purchase it. And Sense and Sensibility, this is one of many versions, I guess. This is from 2008. And, of course, a Jane Austen story. I have some other DVDs on order, some Jack Lemmon movies, which should be showing up next week. And what is the name of that C.J. Cherry book that I just read? Oh, man, it's right on the edge. Well, I don't want to sit here and waste your time me thinking about it. It's right there. It's just get the word out. What the hell was that book? I'll look at it and say it in the next video clip. Bye. It's Friday, January 19th, and first thing I want to do is mention the C.J. Cherry book, whose title I could not remember in my last video clip. The book is called Port, P-O-R-T, Eternity. Pretty good book. Interesting to me anyway. Something unlike anything I've ever read before. Okay, so what did I get this week? At Strand, I picked up 2 books. Eastwood by Robert Tanich, and this has basically like chapters on each of his movies, along with some nice pictures and excerpts from reviews, little clippings from the movie reviews at the time that they came out, and just looking, flipping through the pages, looking at it, and it's just funny how some of the reviews are negative about certain movies, and then years later they're remembered as being good movies. So it's hard to really judge movies, not all the time, but a lot of the time when they first come out, they don't get a good review, but they stand the test of time anyway. And the other book I picked up is Cary Grant by Graham McCann. Hardcover is $2 outside Strand. During the week, Strand is now my job, so I walk there every day. On weekends, 2-3 times a month, we'll take trips, and we buy a lot of used books. My family, especially me. Strand's getting a little bit difficult, just as a little aside. It's becoming crowded outside with people who are resellers. They're sitting there with their little app from Amazon, checking all the books and just filling up their carts with books. And I only have, I can only go there for a little while during lunch, and they're just standing there like most of the day, just taking everything they can. So I'm lucky I even found 2 books. It's becoming annoying. I guess good for them, and Strand's happy to sell books, but it just takes away from the fun of going there to look a little bit, knowing that these people are just standing there all day taking books. Somehow it just goes against the idea of like putting books outside for people to browse and look. If people are just, yesterday someone came along. Was this yesterday or 2 days? I think it was yesterday. Someone from the store came out with like a big, what's it called, like a dolly with books on it. Not a dolly, like what the hell is that thing called? It's like tall. Is it? Well, anyway, a hand truck, and with like maybe 30 books on it, and people started to like flock around the guy before he gets to put them out and look at what he has. Maybe he's got something good. And some lady was saying, just like said, "Oh, I'm buying the whole thing." It's like nobody could look. She was just buying the whole entire hand cart of books. It's ridiculous. Hope that's. I didn't complain, but if that's like the new policy, people are just going to do that. It just just leave the books inside. Don't even bring them out. It's insulting to the customers outside who are looking, to just have someone come along and say, "I'm just buying the whole cart," and they already have like a couple of wagon loads of books. It's just ridiculous. Okay, enough of that. Strand's second-rate store, third-rate store anyway, honestly, from all the other stores I go to. Okay, the other thing I picked up were some DVDs I bought on Amazon. Jack Lemmon, this is 2 movies, Avanti and Irma La Douce. I'm not sure really how you say that, Deuce. This one here has 4 movies. Under the Yum Yum Tree, My Sister Eileen, Piffed Love, spelled L-U-V. I really like Jack Lemmon. And this one here, Operation Madball, Good Neighbor Sam, The Notorious Landlady, and 3 for the Show. So that's it for this week. This weekend we're not really doing much, and next weekend we're going out for a book sale that happens every January, 30% off. And it's a big place, so we hope to find some nice stuff. And they do sell cheap to begin with. Well, relatively cheap. So 30% off is really nice. Like if a paperback's $1, it'll be 70 cents. A lot of their hardcovers are like $4 to $7. So hopefully we'll find some good bargains. Until next time, take care. It's Friday, January 26th, and I am down to 74 weeks to retirement. What books did I get this week? So let's see, let's go through them. These were all purchased outside Strand. This is a mystery book, Missing Woman by Michael Z. Lewin. I have another book by him. There's like a series with the same detective, the Albert Sampson Mystery Series. Then I got Shadow Man, The Life of Dashiell Hammett by Richard Lehman. This is hardcover. Book is like new. Beautiful Cigar Girl, Mary Rogers, Edgar Allan Poe, and The Invention of Murder by Daniel Stashower. Again, like brand new. The hardcovers were $2. And the next three are all from the same, they're a journal. Military History Quarterly, MHQ. I got Winter 1996. These were $2 each. I see them elsewhere for like $1, but I wanted them. This is 1996 Summer and Spring 1992. So not too much, but some good stuff. I like the Military History Quarterly magazines. Besides being in hardcover, so they last a long time, there's a lot of interesting articles in them. And these books all look interesting. And this was just a cool find because I never really see this series. So now I've got 2 of them. There were a few more written. Maybe I'll come across them. Tomorrow we go to Connecticut, the Book Barn. They have their annual book sale. And so I'm sure tomorrow night or Sunday I'll be doing another video. Till then, bye. It's Sunday, January 28th. I was a little bit unsure of the day there, that's why I paused. Yesterday we went to the annual book sale, the first day of the annual book sale at the Book Barn in Niantic, Connecticut. And it's 30% off. I bought 10 books, and which is good because I really have very limited room, really no room. I should not buy any more books, to be honest, but I do. So buying 10 books isn't, it's fine. Instead of coming home with 30, 40 books, that would have been a disaster. But at the same time, I didn't buy more books because honestly, it really wasn't that great. There were areas of the Book Barn that were just not really full with books like they normally are. And I thought that was kind of a letdown a little bit. Even if I only ended up with 10 books, I just wanted to see more books. And this is a place that claims to take in, thousands and thousands of books every week and month. And to see empty spaces, especially when they know they're having a book sale and people are traveling, it should really be full. So I was, it's like with Strand, a lot of times outside some of the areas aren't really full. Like the paperbacks would be half empty, and it's ridiculous because this is a destination spot for like tourists and people come here from all over the place and to buy books. It's Strand, it's like a famous bookstore, and they should always make sure that everything is full, for its customer experience, and people are coming there again, travel. You could be on a visit from Europe somewhere, and you want to go to Strand, and you go outside to look at the books, and it's not full. So I feel like that's not cool. Just my opinion. I think they should have had more books out if they really get all the books they claim they do. So what did I buy after that little meaningless rant? Well, it mattered to me because I traveled to go there and was hoping to see more. But I did get 10 books, and I got them relatively cheap. Okay, thought I was going to sneeze, but then it passed. So I have this book already, Von Ryan's Express by David Westheimer, but this will be the copy I read. I have a nice hardcover copy and a copy with Frank Sinatra on the cover because he was in the movie. So I'd like to not read that one. So this will be my reading copy, but it's in excellent condition. And then I have this book, North from Rome by Helen McGinnis, but this has a different cover. It was only 70 cents with the discount, so I picked that up. And this book I have also, but this is in better condition, The Hidden Target, again by Helen McGinnis. And by chance, I opened up to a page in the book, I think it was page 54, and it mentioned that I think the main character in the book might be an atheist. So that was kind of a nice surprise, but I'll find out more when I read the book. If I ever get to read the book, so many books. Okay, this is something I don't have. Edgar Allan Poe, and I wanted it, so it's cool. Edgar Allan Poe, Mournful and Never-Ending Remembrance by Kenneth Silverman. And this book normally was priced at $4, and I got it for $2.80. Here's another book that was on my to-purchase list that I don't have, The Contract Surgeon by Dan O'Brien. It's a novel about Surgeon Valentine McGillicuddy, who worked among the Sioux in the 1870s and beyond. And this is part one. The next one, I can't remember the name of the book right now, but there was a book to follow it up, and I have that one, so now I have both. If I could ever find that in hardcover, I'd get it. Now this book goes for some bucks on the internet. I already have it, but it was $2.80 it cost me, so you bet I purchased it. The Cavalryman by Harold Sinclair. This is the follow-up book to The Horse Soldiers by Harold Sinclair, which is made into a movie with John Wayne. So this is like the same character, main character, maybe some others, and it's a fictional account of the Sioux War in the early 1860s in Minnesota. That's what I think this book is about. So for $2.80, it's in pretty good shape. Then let's see. Oh, this I have, but it was only 70 cents. It was like in brand new condition. The Indians by Benjamin Capps. I have one of them. So, being what nice shape it was in, I just figured I'd get it for that price. This is one of my favorite photos. Let me see here. Hold on. Oh, here. On the side here, Two Hatchet, his name is. That's what it says in the caption. He's a Kiowa Indian. And the other fellow is a Navajo boy, name unknown. But for 70 cents, that was pretty good. The next three books are all related to Jane Austen. This one here is 101 Things You Didn't Know About Jane Austen, and it's by Patrice Hannon. This was $2.80, it's like brand new. This one here is called The Improvement of the Estate. Weird title. A Study of Jane Austen's Novels by Alastair M. Duckworth. And this was also, I think, $2.80 with the discount. So original price was $4. And here, Jane Austen, it's called Jane's Fame, How Jane Austen Conquered the World by Claire Harmon. It's like brand new. They had two of them, but they were in separate different rooms. And the one that I first saw had like bent pages. Someone had bent a lot of pages when they were reading it. Which, like, I hate that. Use a bookmark. Then my wife spotted this one, so I figured because the other one I wasn't even going to buy, so I got that one. So that was it for the Book Barn trip. My son and my wife picked up another 8 books between them, and we had a good time. And no book trips planned for the moment, but I'm sure in February we'll go probably to New Jersey or something. So till next time, bye. Hello, it is Thursday, February 1st, but this will be the last video closing out January 2018. So what did I buy this week at Strand? In a Lonely Place by Dorothy Hughes, and there's Humphrey Bogart on the cover. I can't remember the name of the actress right now. Terrible with names. But anyway, I was surprised to find this outside. It's in nice shape. First purchase. Then I got also this. I have this already, but I wasn't sure. I bought it again. It was only $1. It's like called Arms and Armor, and I kind of like the old armor. It was very intricate, the work. And there's just different pictures in here of weapons, swords, and a little bit hard to see. Different armor. What the hell? It was worth $1. Then this I actually purchased inside. I didn't even know that it existed, this book, but I went inside to look for something else and found this. Life Through Time and Space by Wallace Arthur. It's a new science book, and it's got a lot of topics it covers. It looks very interesting, and I think $15, brand new, dust jacket. And then outside for $2, this didn't have the dust jacket, and I already have this book, but I wasn't sure when I purchased it. but it's worth having a reading copy. Jane Austen, The Secret Radical by Helena Kelly. So I actually emailed the company asking if I can get a dust jacket, but they said they didn't have any more. Whether it was the truth or not, I don't know, but it was worth a shot. And then today, even though this is for February and I'm doing the even though it's February and I'm doing the January video, I'm going to still show this because I picked it up today. This was Outside, Dan Barker, Godless. How an evangelical preacher became one of America's leading atheists. So it was like in brand new condition, outside for $1. And then the last thing, this was something that I ordered on Amazon a few months ago when it finally arrived. This is a collector's edition, 50th anniversary edition, a pictographic history of the Oglala Sioux. It's hardcover. It's a beautiful book, art like this in the book. Drawings by Amos Badhart Bull, text by Helen Blish, introduction by Marie Sandoz. And special edition, really beautiful. This is what I call the Bible, not that other thing. Now, at the end of the month, I like to go over what movies I watched and books that I've read. So let's first, today I finished my 5th book of the month, well, like 4.5, because one of them I had started last year and finished it this month. So the books that I read are Port Eternity by C.J. Cherryh, which I gave 3 out of 5 stars, science fiction. Great Battles, Decisive Conflicts That Have Shaped History, I gave 3 out of 5 stars. Above Suspicion by Helen McGinnis, that's like a espionage spy novel, I gave 4 out of 5 stars. Casino Royale by Ian Fleming, that's the first James Bond novel, 3 out of 5 stars. And Tarzan number 2, The Return of Tarzan. Actually, I read the first Tarzan maybe 2 years ago, and so finally got around to the second one. So The Return of Tarzan, I gave 4 out of 5 stars. I thought it was very good. Keeping in mind when the context, when reviewing a book like that, you can't really review it with today's senses, with today's knowledge and point of view. You have to review it thinking if you were alive 100 years ago, early 1900s, reading a book like that. It was a good adventure story, and I could see men being interested in the story back then. Nowadays you can look at it and see things about it that, to criticize, but for when it was written, it was a good adventure story, and it's still a good adventure story. So those are the books I've read so far. Tomorrow I'll be starting a book about D-Day, June 6, 1944. That's one of my first World War II books ever that I've read. I've read some photo histories, but this is like my first actual book about World War II. So seems like it's going to be a good book. Okay, what movies did I watch? I watched a lot during January, so I'm going to take these one at a time and just give my rating and not really talk about them. Maybe one day I'll do a movie review channel, but right now I'm just going to make it quick. So I watched Blue Valentine with Ryan Gosling and Michelle Williams. I gave 4 out of 5 stars. That's Blue Valentine. With my son, I watched Doctor Who, Asylum of the Daleks with Matt Smith. I didn't really rate that. Doctor Who's, 3 or 4 stars. Northanger Abbey from BBC, 1986 or 1987. For some reason, I didn't review that. Very careful, but I missed that one, so I don't really remember. But who was in it. But I do remember watching it and thinking that it was pretty good. So I'll just say 3.5 or 4 stars. Avanti with Jack Lemmon, I gave 5 stars. Brooklyn, was a movie that I had watched last year, I think, on my own. I watched it with my wife one day, and we both enjoyed it. 4 out of 5 stars. Enemy Mine, it's a science fiction movie. I did not really care for this movie. I gave it 2 out of 5 stars. The Breakfast Club, famous movie from the 80s. I didn't think it was so great. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. A New Leaf, which is a dark black comedy. with Walter Matthau and Elaine May. 4 out of 5 stars. Pretty good. Then I watched Doctor Who Into the Dalek with Peter Capaldi. And I didn't rate that again. It would have been like, 3-4 stars. A Novel Romance, a Hallmark movie. I like romance movies, but this one was, I gave 3 out of 5 stars. I don't remember who was in it, but I gave it 3 out of 5, like I said. The Butterfly Effect with Ashton Kutcher. Thought it was an excellent movie. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Comet with Justin Long. I gave 3 out of 5 stars. Passengers with Chris Pratt and Jennifer Lawrence. 5 out of 5. I thought that was an excellent movie. Passengers, sci-fi movie. The Interview with James Franco and Seth Rogen. That movie sucked. 2 out of 5 stars. Maybe I should give it 1 out of 5. Well, I said 2. One star for Franco, 1 star for Seth, and the rest of the movie just sucked. Matter of fact, they kind of sucked in it too. It just sucked, that movie. A Lot Like Love with Ashton Kutcher. 4 out of 5 stars. Irrational Man, a Woody Allen movie starring Joaquin Phoenix. 4 out of 5 stars. Killers with Ashton Kutcher. 3.75 out of 5 stars. I couldn't quite go 4, but it was pretty good. Easy Virtue with Jessica Biel. 3 out of 5 stars. Maybe it deserves more, like 3.5 or even 4, but I went with 3. Same time next week, a Hallmark, not a Hallmark movie, but something like a Hallmark movie. I gave it 2 out of 5 stars. Same time next week, 2 out of 5. Sea of Love, Al Pacino, John Goodman, and Ellen Barkin. 4.5 out of 5 stars. While You Were Sleeping with Sandra Bullock and Bill Pullman. 2.5 out of 5 stars. John Wick, and I watched John Wick and John Wick Chapter 2. Those star Keanu Reeves. I gave them 3 out of 5 stars. The movies deserve more than that, but my problem is there's just so much killing in those movies. I mean, Keanu as John Wick must kill over 100 men between the 2 movies. It's beautiful. How could I say this? Yes, there's a lot of work gone into the choreographing of everything. It was really well done. No doubt about it. Excellent action. But just so many people get shot. And so I want to just, in a way they deserve 4.5, 5 stars. But just because of all that killing, I'm giving it 3. I don't want to be like, yay, killing. So even, some people might say even 3 is too high, but they were good. Just so many people get blown away. The Bourne Identity and The Bourne Supremacy, both starring Matt Damon. There's more Bourne movies, but I watched the first 2. I gave them 3 out of 5 stars each. Same as the John Wick movies. Atomic Blonde with Charlize Theron. I'm not really sure how you say her last name. I gave that 3.5 out of 5. It was unique seeing a woman play that kind of role. There wasn't as much killing, so I raised it a little bit. While You Were Dating, a Hallmark movie. This movie sucked. I gave it 2 out of 5. I should have given it 1 out of 5. Above Suspicion, Fred MacMurray and Joan Crawford. 2 out of 5. Now, I mentioned reading Above Suspicion by Helen McGinnis, and I gave the book 4 out of 5. The movie did not come close to the book. Yes, they made changes, of course. Books have to do that. I mean, movies have to do that when they're based on a book. You can't reproduce the book exactly. But this movie just didn't capture the book, I don't think, and it just made a mess of the story and too many changes, and they needed more time. It couldn't do that story in such a short time. About 90 minutes. They needed 2 hours or more. Sundown, starring Gene Tierney and George Sanders. I gave that a 1 out of 5. Ooh, it was horrid. Especially because they started... The whole movie is nothing but religion. All of a sudden at the end, it's church, and they're in a church, and they're talking about church and religion, and I was like, what the hell is that? You made me watch this whole movie for it to end like that? You become religious? What is that? What is that? Wasting my time. Okay, Becoming Bond with George Lazenby, who was an actual Bond. Did play James Bond in the late 1960s. One movie only. This was kind of like a documentary with George talking to the camera, and then they'd have vignettes of what he's talking about, and throughout his life, when he was a kid, when he was growing up, when he got the part as Bond, what happened to him afterwards. Excellent movie. I rated that 4.5 out of 5. So much better than I thought it would be. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know anything about it. Becoming Bond, 4.5 out of 5 stars. Good movie. Nudity, just warning you. Bedazzled with Dudley Moore and Peter Cook. This is Dudley Moore plays a man, this is in England, and Peter Cook is like the devil, and he gives him certain number of wishes, like 5 or 7, I forget, and every wish that Dudley Moore makes, like, he thinks it's a good one, and then somehow the devil screws him. But it was really good. Love by Chance, a Hallmark movie. I gave that 3 out of 5 stars. Then I watched a strange movie called Memento with Guy Pearce and Carrie Ann Moss. And I gave that 3 out of 5. That was a confusing story. They kind of start at the end, and then it's like flashbacks, where each time they flash back a little bit previous to the scene you just watched. So it's like you just keep watching backwards. It was disconcerting after a while. Maybe there's a genius to it, but I gave it 3 out of 5. Coyote Ugly, Piper Perabo and John Goodman. I gave 2.5 out of 5 stars. It wasn't really my kind of movie. Definitely Maybe was definitely a good movie. That stars Ryan Reynolds and Rachel Weisz. Weiss with the Z at the end. I gave that 5 out of 5 stars. Along with Passengers, that was in my other 5 out of 5. And even some of the 4 out of 5s could have been even higher, maybe. Some good movies I watched this month. So that was definitely Maybe 5 out of 5. Cafe Society with Woody Allen. Directed by Woody Allen, written by Woody Allen, but stars Steve Carell and Jesse Eisenberg. I gave that 4 out of 5 stars. The next one, Crisis in 6 Scenes, was a short film by Woody Allen. It was like 25 minutes or 24 minutes. I gave that 2.5 out of 5 stars. It was okay. And then I watched Blade Runner 2049 with Ryan Gosling and Harrison Ford. I gave that 3 out of 5 stars. It probably deserves more, but it was very hard to follow. I should have really watched the first Blade Runner, which I've seen a couple times, like many years ago. So I have just a vague memory of the movies. I don't think you really have to see them to like this movie or not like it, but it would help to understand the background of the story a little bit. I gave it 3 out of 5 because I just found it to be a movie where you can't just watch it once, I don't feel, and really catch it. There's a lot of questions and things that are mysterious, and you need almost to watch that movie and then go to internet and watch YouTube videos where people review the movie and break it down and explain it to you what you just watched, because it's just too much to take in. And so it's fun to think about a movie when you get home and what did this mean, what did that mean. But this movie had so much of that you couldn't retain all of it. Unless you're watching it on a video, which I was, and I kept, stopping to think about what's going on or watch it more than once. It's just too much thinking involved. So while it probably deserves higher than a 3, just because I found it hard to follow and just really needed help to understand what I was watching, so I gave it 3 out of 5. So that's it for the month of January. We are now down to 17 months to retirement, including the current month. Time's going fast, but not too fast. So, And this was an excellent purchase. I'm very happy, and I'd like to find time to read this probably, if not this year, then next year. Especially like after I retire, then I'll have lots of time. I could sit home with that and really enjoy it. I have that in other versions, two of them in a slipcase, but this has a new introduction, I think, by Emily Levine, and so that's it. My stylus has where to go. There it is, tickling my foot. Okay, so until next time, take care.